The regular season is in the books. It is now time for the first playoff week edition of Overreaction Monday.
Oh, baby.
Presented by our friends at Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code of Overreaction, and you get $20 off your first purchase. I guess, Chris Brockman,
Rich,
this is the edition we like to call the Super
yes,
Overreaction Monday, with the regular season now finished. All 272 games in the books, including game 272, where the Lions curb stomped the Minnesota Vikings
to take
the entire shooting match, the NFC North, the NFC, the one seed.
Yep.
Making the Minnesota Vikings the first ever 14-win road tripping wild card team. Pardon me, super wild card weekend team. Good to see you. How are you,
Great
sir?
Great to see you, man. Exhausted. What a season. It's over. Can't believe it. Sunday night kind of a letdown, but we're going to talk about that in a minute.
All right, then let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
Much to overreact to. As of this recording, Gerard Mayo had already been fired as the one-and-done head coach of the New England Patriots. Doug Peterson let go after 3 years on the job in Jacksonville. Obviously, stay tuned to our flagship show for any and all of the latest. Wow. But for the moment, hit it.
That was terrible. That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, Christopher, you have the floor.
Rich, let's do it. Let's start in the NFC North. Underwhelmed last night watching the Vikings and Lions play. I don't know how that's going to bode for their playoff futures. I'm going to say not good. The NFC North will combine for less playoff wins than teams who made it.
Teams who made it is you're talking about three?
Three.
Okay.
They're going to combine for less than 3 playoff wins.
No, I'll say that's an overreaction. I'll call that an overreaction.
I think the Vikings and Packers go one and done, and I don't love what I saw out of the Lions last night.
I disagree. I think what I saw out of the Lions is the grit that would require them to actually go to the Super Bowl, and they get the bye week that they need. With Alex Anzalone coming back, you could see a different sort of defensive mindset. Zadarius Smith is providing the pass rush. And I think that maybe some more and more Lions are going to come back, including David Montgomery on offense. Sonic provided the knuckles on Sunday night, and I think Sonic is going to get knuckles back based on what I'm hearing. And I think that what you saw last night was a 12th man. Sorry, Seattle and Texas A&M fans. What you saw was the exact reason why the Lions could use that home field advantage, despite being the only undefeated road team in the NFL this year, is that it helps a defense. And I think that what we saw last night was the true grit and the smarts. Dan Orlovsky is on our flagship show on Monday. I saw his initial breakdown of how they high-load Justin Jefferson and they bracketed Jordan Addison, that they have the smarts and they have the personnel somehow, some way to actually win this conference. The Eagles would concern me, but I think the Packers can one and done them. I think that they can absolutely do something like that. And I would disagree with this. I think this is an overreaction in the fact that one team vanquished the other in such a significant way on Sunday Night Football that you think the Vikings could be one and done. Possible that happens for the Rams. Because this interesting fact as well, the 2 losses that the Vikings had going into last night, they had 2 losses in a 5-day span. As you know, it was against Detroit.
Yep.
And then coming out here to Los Angeles.
Correct.
They lose in Detroit last night. They're coming out here to Los Angeles. It's the same scenario that's set up. And if the Lions make the Super Bowl, that's 2 playoff wins right there. So
I think all the questions you had all season long about, is this for real for Sam Darnold, they came to bear last night. You saw the issues in the red zone. He missed Justin Jefferson on back-to-back drives open in the end zone, 4 touchdowns that would have gave them a commanding lead in this game, and I think it's right to be concerned about them. And Jared Goff was throwing it up for grabs last night. I love the way the defense played, despite all the injuries that they've had. Aaron Glenn can really coach him up. He's going to get a head coaching job this cycle.
I hope so.
It feels like. But I think it's fair to be concerned about all of these teams. Green Bay didn't look good on Sunday. This conference that has dominated all season long kind of beat each other up down the stretch. And I'm a little worried.
I don't blame you. I think this is a reasonable launching off point for this podcast, but I'll just still call it an overreaction.
All right, let's really gear up then. You know who's not playing well going into the playoffs? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's true.
The Steelers should start Justin Fields if they want any chance to upset the Ravens.
No way. No thanks.
Russ is cooked, bro.
I don't know if Russ is cooked as much as George Pickens is letting him down. I mean, you know, your best ability is availability, and then he was unavailable for the first part of this 4-game losing streak. By the way, the Steelers become the third team in the history of the NFL playoffs to enter the postseason on a 4-game losing streak. The last team to do it were the 99 Lions, who were one and done. And then before that, it was the famed Joe Musco, Joe Walton coached New York Jets of 1986, who started 10-1. Causing all of us in Jets fandom to think this is finally the year. Then they lose 5 in a row, still make the playoffs at 10-6, won their wild card round, lost in the divisional round. That's it. That's all the information you can glean from history to tell you what could be prologue.
I didn't know any of that. That's great.
That is a fact. But you have to go in to the playoffs with your veteran hand. And, for instance, Russ's last throw of the night on Saturday night hit Pat Freiermuth in the hands.
I know, but what about the
previous
15 before that?
The previous throw that Pickens was open on a third down, when you're thinking to yourself, how the hell did the Ravens let Pickens get behind him? Mm-hmm. That was one of those where Pickens had no idea where he was going. I was talking about this with Kurt Warner on Sunday, because we started the show with that highlight of game day morning on Sunday. And he, over the highlight, said, I don't know if that, because I said it looked like Pickens slowed his route down, like he stopped running. And he goes, I don't even know if it was a slow or not. So I asked him, I'm like, what was that on that play? And he just thinks that Pickens was just freelancing because Russ was out of the pocket. He shouldn't have been where he was to begin with. Russ thought he would just continue going to the sideline, and he turned it up the field, and that's the way things always go, and it looks like it's the quarterback's fault. Now, Russ has definitely begun to see the field less in the way that he did when he first started to go from 4 and take the team from 4-2 to 10-3. So if I'm the Steelers, I'm thinking, I've got to go with my veteran hand. I cannot hand it off to Justin Fields right now. I simply cannot do that. And one of the reasons why I have this information here in front of me, do you know who the last rookie quarterback? Now, Justin Fields isn't a rookie, but this would be his first career playoff start.
Right.
Okay. Do you know who the last rookie quarterback to win his first ever playoff game on the road? I'll tell you the answer. His name is Russell Wilson, 2012.
Okay.
The last 7 attempts by rookie quarterbacks, and this is food for thought for Bengals fans and Commanders fans whose rookie quarterbacks are going on the Broncos fans and Commanders fans.
Well, good. We're going to talk about them next.
That they're going on the road to start the playoffs with their rookies. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
That streak is still going and they'd like to end it. No way. You have to go with Russell Wilson.
Let me ask you this then.
In Baltimore on a Saturday night, and come on now. It's going to be cold. It's going to be...
Give them something they haven't seen. What about Russell Wilson's play over the last month to 6 weeks has given you any confidence he's going to go into Baltimore and win this game?
Nothing. So you want to maybe put a package in? Sure. But
Justin Fields has to play in this game if they want any chance. I think they should start him and just play him, but you got to have a Fields package.
I call that an overreaction. The other part about having a Fields package is not.
Okay. Let's talk rookie quarterbacks.
Okay.
I love the rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs.
How great was Bo Nix on Sunday?
Bo Nix is awesome. Bo Nix in a redraft might be 3rd overall if we did it all over again.
It would go in that mind, in your mind, it would go Jayden, Drake May, Bo Nix.
He might be second overall.
Okay.
Now
All
that
right.
you just said it out loud.
Okay, sure.
Okay. One of these rookie quarterbacks is going on a run to championship weekend.
I'll still call that an overreaction as well. Just going back to what I just said moments ago, that the last rookie quarterbacks to start their playoff career on the road, as Bo Nix will do in Western New York with the train whistles and the folding tables and the jumping off of the top of RVs in the parking lot, and Jayden Daniels starting his playoff career going to Tampa, which, based on the way that we saw Tampa close the season, I would feel much better about that than them having potentially wound up going to Los Angeles to start or going to Philadelphia to start their road playoff career. Again, the last 7 rookies to start on the road for their first career playoff game have lost. I'm genuinely concerned about that.
That has nothing to do with these guys. That's just a trend.
It's a trend, but it's also.
But these are also older quarterbacks. These guys played a lot of college football.
That's true.
They came in with a lot of experience into the NFL.
Yeah, but
and they've really played awesome.
Going into Alabama to take on Nick Saban in the Iron Bowl, or going into
that might be harder than going to Buffalo.
Okay, that I will push back on that. I will push back on that. And that's the most polite way I can say it. So, yes, I'm concerned about that, and I do appreciate your enthusiasm for it. If I had to choose which one could do it, I'd go with Jayden Daniels. I think, with all due respect to our friends in Tampa, with the cannons firing, I would think it's a much easier assignment, for the lack of a better word, to go into Tampa and win that game against a Bucs team that is more tested. I understand in terms of playoffs just last year, and veterans who have won it and have rings on their fingers, that they are a more tested group than Washington. But going into Buffalo as your first career playoff game, that is just so very difficult. And just to bring it all full circle, do you know the last Broncos quarterback to win in Buffalo was Russell Wilson? That happened a couple of years ago. Remember that Monday nighter where they kind of stunned the Bills?
Oh, yeah.
It's last year. Last year. So a couple of seasons ago now. We just finished a playing season here. So,
man, Bo Nix just threw the second most touchdowns by a rookie in NFL history.
Terrific. He was stupendous. He put the Broncos and their fan base in a rocking chair from the first snap. He was 100% the better quarterback than Carson Wentz, who is no doubt using this moment as a chance to put on tape for everyone to see. Give me a chance.
Well,
that was the exact opposite of that result. That was a stupendous must-have performance by Bo Nix going into Buffalo to try and knock off the Bills after what we just saw. Rookie quarterback against MVP quarterback, which is what I believe Josh Allen's going to wind up being, with all due respect to everybody else. That's a tall order, and this is an overreaction.
Yeah, just momentum going into the playoffs, and Broncos coming off a win, the Bills coming off a loss, just saying.
Right.
All right, last one before halftime, Rich. Yes. Man, you know who's playing awesome football heading into the offseason?
I do not. I do, but I don't know who you're talking about.
Bryce Young. The Panthers are going to be the team to beat in the NFC South in 2025.
Oh, that's another overreaction. Come on. I'm very happy for
5 touchdowns
Carolina Panthers
on
fans.
Sunday.
I'm very happy for him as well, Bryce Young. Again, when I saw him in Munich, it was just the second start of his reboot, or as I referred to it in our broadcast meeting, a sabbatical, which brought a big, huge smile to his face and an audible laugh, and him saying, I've never heard that phrase used before for, what just happened. And I'm like, feel free to take it. He goes, I will. He loved that it was called a sabbatical. And sure enough, that's what it turned out to be. of all the storylines this year that were a complete opposite of what the national sports talk media was referring to it in first blush moments, whatever turned out to be the polar opposite of what everybody in our business in first blush moments called it to be. This one is one of the biggest reversals I've seen in years, because when he got benched, it was he'll never succeed. Mm-hmm. He'll certainly never succeed in Carolina. He should leave. Dave Canales is getting curb stomped by an owner who just refuses to take his thumb off the scale. And when he puts his thumb on the scale, all it does is just screw it up even worse than the way that the owner was screwing it up before. That was the 100. I don't know of another person in our business, Chris, who called it another way, saying, let's just see what happens.
No, we were wondering mid-season what teams should trade for Bryce Young. Like, should he go to Miami?
Or why would anybody trade for him? Because he's too small.
Yeah.
He'll never make it. He hasn't shown a spark. There hasn't been a single moment for him that you could hang your hat on. Even when he beat C.J. Stroud for his first career win in the midst of C.J. Stroud's Jayden Daniels-like meteoric rise as the offensive rookie of the year last year, it wasn't even one of those special performances where you could say, there it is. There was no Rick Dalton gif for him ever. Mm-hmm. And he was still, when we were in the broadcast meeting, somewhat sheepish. And Dave Canales said, I know we will be on the right track and succeeding when I see our players' personalities come out on the field. And that's all we've seen from Bryce Young kind of since that day in Munich when they beat the Giants in overtime. And he has been superb, finishing the season with 3 consecutive 2-touchdown, no interception performances. The last quarterback to do that for Carolina was Cam Newton. So he has been particularly terrific, and Carolina has that possibility. Every year you take a look at a team that finishes strong and how they can turn a page. I'm not saying they're this, but our current Detroit Lions did that 3 years ago, where they finished the season strong, and then all of a sudden, 3 seasons ago, they finished the season strong. If you remember, they sent Brett Favre they sent Aaron Rodgers into his Brett Favre type second act. Mm-hmm. So I understand your optimism, but to say that they're going to be the team to beat when Atlanta clearly has found Penix and the Bucs have roosted on this division now from Brady to Baker, I can't say they're going to be the team to beat in the NFC South, but I can certainly say that they're going to be competitive and may turn into that. But for us to say it right now, I think is an overreaction.
And that's how we do it.
Let's talk about game time tickets. Suze and I are taking the entire family to Westwood to see the alma mater on Tuesday night. Play a little hoops.
Nice.
The way I did that is I went to the Game Time app.
Love it.
And I looked at all the seats of 5, by the way. That's not an easy number.
It's not an easy number.
It's not an easy number, but Game Time handled the whole thing, and Game Time Picks is the feature that filtered out all the fluff. All I got to see were the incredible deals on the great seats that I needed, 5 together. So I didn't waste a single second searching through thousands of tickets and sections that I want to sit in. And sure enough, within 2 minutes, not only were they purchased with the all-in pricing feature, so the price that I saw when I initially started searching wound up being the price that I paid. Mm-hmm. So I saw the total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. But the whole thing was done within minutes, and minutes later, the tickets were in my phone. Unbelievable. The guesswork totally removed when buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code of Overreaction, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Visit GameTime.co for restrictions. Again, create an account, redeem our code OVERREACTION for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Second half, Christopher, go for it.
Second half, Rich. According to reports yesterday, I don't know this for a fact. I wasn't really watching the Patriots play, but they don't have the number 1 pick.
They have the number 4 overall pick now, Christopher.
Yeah, and it's the Titans that have the first. Is
They
that,
do
is that what
indeed.
happened? Is that according to
That
reports?
these are facts. They're not reports.
I thought I saw a Tom Pelissero tweet that I was very angry with. The Titans should one and done Brian Callahan, hire Deion, and draft Shedeur first overall. Get some excitement back in your franchise. You're boring. No one cares about you. You want to shake it up? Get some headlines? Do this.
Total overreaction. First of all, Deion's not going anywhere. That's number one. Secondly, I will say this. It was a tough year for Tennessee. I pegged them as my sleeper team of the AFC. And I don't even think
I think they're still sleeping.
Well, I will say that I don't think they're wound up being a sleeper team in the AFC because nobody was sleeping on the Chargers. Okay, the Chargers plussed up 6.
Right.
I said Jim was going to plus them up 7, but I think a lot of people were saying they're going to be improved because Harbaugh's coming. No one was sleeping on the Chargers.
I guess Denver could have been your sleeper team. You thought they were going to win 10 games and make the playoffs?
No, I guess so. Yeah. You could have chosen Denver as that, but my sleeper team never woke up.
Mm-hmm.
And other teams did fall asleep, including Cincinnati, despite coming back and finishing above 500 and firing their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, before he came on the air here on our pod. This is just a long-winded way of setting it up and saying, I do think Brian Callahan is the guy. And I think having his dad there as well for an offensive line coach guru. And I think Brian comes from the Zach Taylor, Sean McVay tree, which is exactly if I'm owning a team, I'd want somebody from that tree coaching my team. I kind of liked his full-throated response in when somebody was calling his team soft.
Yeah, that's true.
This team did add a few big-name free agents, but I'm not particularly keen on building a team that way, thinking that you're going to turn it around immediately. It's still a quarterback-driven league and sport. You're number 1 overall. Shedeur, at some point, I think Shedeur is going to have to say as well, like, I'm not the guy I am because I'm the son that I am. I'm not as good as I am and have as much buzz around me as I am because I'm Deion's son. I can create my own buzz with my own play and who I am. And at some point, even in his life, he's going to have to be coached by somebody else. And this is the perfect opportunity to do it. End of story. To one and done the guy just to say, let's get Deion in here as a package deal with his son. I don't think it's a sustainable way of conducting your business in a professional sport. So I will push back on that and call this an overreaction.
I am interested to see the lead up to the draft, though, when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. So many statements, reports out there, they see him as a middle of the second round player. Is he a middle of the first round player? Can he be the first overall pick? Can he be the leader? Is he mature enough, et cetera, et cetera? I am excited to see that. I just wanted to talk
Any
draft
coach
here.
who does not have a quarterback that is performing well will always look worse than he would if he had a quarterback that's performing well.
We can agree
It's
Will
that
Levis isn't the
simple.
guy, though, right?
I think we're going to find out that the Titans believe he is not, because they're not going to first of all, they're not going to do like what the Bears did.
Right.
With Justin Fields, which is initially trade away the pick to somebody else.
Only to miraculously get it back.
Right. And then replace him anyway.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to be the plan. They're going to be like, we're going to draft somebody and that kid's going to go. And the question is, who is it? Is it going to be Shedeur? Is it going to be Cam Ward? The one thing that I know is it's not going to be the Patriots sitting there and getting a king's ransom for it now. Because somebody falls in love with Shedeur or Cam Ward.
Right.
You're going to be lucky to get Travis Hunter.
We're not going to get him.
We'll talk about that on the flagship show. What else you got over there, Chris?
One of the worst days of the season yesterday. Rich, let's talk about your boy.
Who's my boy?
Your boy, Baker Mayfield. He's going to finish 3rd in the MVP voting.
I don't think, like, what planet are you on right now? And I love my boy. What what planet are you on right now? I understand.
Excuse me?
I know what his numbers are.
Division winner, 10 wins.
How about a division winner?
Second in yards,
How about
second in touchdown.
How about a division?
What do you mean?
How about a division winner with 15 wins and thousands upon thousands of yards and multiple touchdown games? And
Talking about Jared Goff?
Yeah. How does if you're talking about third in the MVP voting? Lamar,
Wow.
I'm assuming you're saying Lamar and
Josh
Allen are first and second.
In whatever order you prefer.
Correct. Sam Darnold had a shot to be third. That didn't happen.
No, he's out
Saquon
now.
Barkley should be third. He just won't because he's a running back.
He should win it, but he won't. He'll be
Correct.
He'll be in the top 5.
And Baker deserves some votes, but Baker won 10 games, and Baker needed, to pull something out of his orifice in the final week of the season to get to 10.
Feels like Baker has a lot
wins.
less help than Jared Goff has. No.
I don't know. Mike Evans has been a tremendous help. There were times. Listen, there in the post Godwin loss for the year and Mike Evans rehabbing his hamstring. That was a heck of a. I can't believe I'm sitting here.
Yeah, I can't believe you're talking yourself out of this.
But for third in the MVP voting, and you're gonna overlook the quarterback of the 15-win first seeded Detroit Lions. Is that what we're gonna do here? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
No. I mean, because Goff has. I don't have the stats here in front of me. I could literally get up and go to a printer if it's finally printed out in our studio.
Goff has 100 more yards than Baker. Goff
That's
is
what I'm
second.
saying. Goff's going to be third. I'm with you. I'll just push back and say this is an overreaction and say it's going to be Goff. Goff should be third. I mean, I know Detroit fans are listening to this conversation saying, how is he not first? It's because, Lamar also had 800 yards plus rushing with his 4,000 yards passing. He's gotten over did he have 35 passing touchdowns this year?
No, 41.
41, right. So, I mean, his numbers are through the roof.
Lamar, 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio.
You might see Burrow get into third place
over
Goff
they needed
because
to make the playoffs.
There might be some. I mean, but you don't think the final? Let's just quickly here guess who the final 5 are.
Okay,
Saquon.
Should be.
And Goff and Allen and Lamar.
And then Baker 5th?
I don't know. I think Burrow's going to sneak in there. I think so.
Man.
You never know.
Baker Mayfield was awesome this year, man.
The list of voters for the MVP award do not include me. So obviously I have an opinion.
Yeah.
On all of that.
All right, last one before we look back. I love Baker. Baker was awesome this year. And happy for Mike Evans. That was a really cool moment.
That was great.
The Giants announced Monday morning.
They're keeping everybody. I told you.
They're making a big mistake not cleaning house after a 3-win year. What are we doing?
I don't think that is an overreaction.
And after we watched on Hard Knocks, completely fumbling the bag.
I don't think that is an overreaction in many ways, other than the fact that the Giants know that the teams that churn their coaching staffs and front office staffs are the ones that are perennially in the dumpster. And I know they have been perennially in the dumpster for the last 15 years, with the exception of peeking out from the top of the dumpster, looking around and one and dunning the Vikings 3 playoffs ago.
Or finding a Super Bowl ring.
Okay.
Hey, what's
all right.
this?
Right. And, well, that's one way for you to say that. But, Patriot fan, yes. And I guess the Odell and the rest of the team goes to Miami before getting smoked by the Green Bay Packers version of the Giants.
Hasn't been good since the boat photo.
So, I understand the Giants are looking at it and saying, on one hand, this isn't working. And we have, though, a coach that we know has a plan and we know can coordinate offenses. Brian Daboll would have a gig being your offensive coordinator in a heartbeat. Like if
I know, I was kind of looking forward to that.
If the next coach of the Patriots isn't Vrabel and doesn't bring Josh McDaniels and is somebody who said, we're going to bring Brian Daboll in here to be the OC, you'd have been Genuinely excited.
Yes,
To
correct.
put Drake May in the hands of Brian Daboll would have genuinely excited you.
Yes, I saw what he did for Josh Allen.
Which is why the Giants probably offered everything under the sun to New England last year to make that actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the Patriots wisely said no. And it just shows how deeply awful it must have been inside one Patriot place for them to blow out the coaching staff that did bring Drake May along nicely enough, one would think. And the Giants not getting Drake May, and we all knew that if they weren't going to get a quarterback in the draft, how brutal the season it would be. We all knew it, to the point where that's why Joe Shane's like, we're not going to pay a running back all that money when we're going to be less than, like, we're not going to build around the running back. Let somebody else take the running back and be the last piece. And they, deep down in their bones, knew it was the Eagles. I'm not saying letting Saquon walk was the right move. The wrong move, as you all know, we all know it, was when they couldn't get it done with Saquon 2 negotiations ago and wound up franchise tagging him and signing Daniel Jones to a longer-term deal. Right. That set everything in motion to this very day. So the Giants knew at the time that this was not the optimal outcome. They hoped for the best, and what came out was positively one of the worst. And they like Daboll, and Joe Shane has this Saquon stuff on his resume forever. Mm-hmm. And I think Mara and Tish got together and said, we could change it again and go back into this market again and start from scratch. And that's the way we get further away when we're keeping it the same and we're hopefully a step closer. And let's get this coach a freaking quarterback and go to work.
But what are they going to do at 3?
I don't know. Great question.
Like hope Cleveland doesn't take a quarterback?
No. Or they go into a more veteran free agent market there and bring Travis Hunter to New York and start playing that way.
Is that a Kirk Cousins spot?
I don't know. Could be a Sam Darnold spot.
Could be. That would be smart.
I don't know. I mean, there's different ways to go about it, but the one way that the Giants clearly wanted to go about it was not churning. We'll see if it works.
Do you think they did this because the Jets did churn?
Oh, I think if you want to bring in the Jets, no. I think the Jets affected things more in New England than anything else.
I think so.
The Jets interviewing Mike Vrabel on Friday, and it comes out that it went very, very well.
1,000%.
I think. If you want to peg any team that reacted to something the Jets are doing,
1,000,000,000%.
What else, Chris?
All right, let's look back, Rich. That's overreaction for heading into Wild Card Weekend. Let's look back. Looking back.
You left out the super.
Super.
Yes.
Looking back as we were getting ready for Week 8. I pegged this. We're heading for another Bills-Chiefs AFC Championship game, and they are the 1 and 2 seeds in the AFC.
Yes, because Kansas City had yet to lose. They had just come off their bye, and they smoked San Francisco.
Yep.
And then Week 8, they won in Vegas.
2.
And the Bills had just rebounded from that 2-week stretch where they went from 3-0 to 3-2 after getting beaten by Baltimore and at Houston, and they had rebounded against the Jets and Tennessee, and then went into Seattle. If this was post Week 8, that was the one where, if you remember, they went into Seattle and Geno Smith was complaining about how loud it was for them on offense because of all the Bills fans that showed up.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's
By the way, kind of on track.
1
and 2. If it goes chalk, there you have it.
Also this one too. I said the Eagles are the second best team in the NFC. I was early on the Eagles.
Second best team in the NFC.
Yeah, and
behind the Lions at the time.
And they are the 2 seed.
And they are the 2 seed behind the Lions right now.
This one did not go so well.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins will be comeback player of the year and an MVP finalist.
Dude. That aged like bad, left out on the counter overnight cheese, pal.
Was that after the 500-yard game? When was that?
If you're including Week 8 going into Week 9, they had just beaten Tampa Bay and swept them.
Okay.
That was when Cousins' best games were against Tampa.
They were.
Week 5, that Thursday night game where he threw for 500 yards, went in overtime, and then he went into Tampa and beat him again.
Yep.
And he looked terrific again.
I'm like, Kirk is back. Let's go.
I know. And they were at that point in time 5-3, and they were about to go into Dallas and become 6-3, and then it all changed.
Yikes.
Well done. That's why we call it Overreaction Monday, everybody. Susie Schuster and Amy Trask on What the Football. Their guest for Super Wildcard Weekend is none other than Stephen A. Smith.
Oh.
He is on Tuesday's edition of What the Football. Wednesday, No Contest Wrestling comes your way with TJ Jefferson co-hosting with a zooming in because he's in the middle of his Den of Thieves 2 Pantera tour. O'Shea Jackson Jr.
That was fun on game day morning.
He showed up on game
Sunday.
day morning.
That was cool.
We played charades with him and Wheezy.
Wheezy, amazing.
It was Team Wheezy versus Team O'Shea.
I like that O'Shea was like, I didn't even know Wayne was going to be here. I didn't even check my email.
He didn't check his emails.
I was like, what are you doing?
And I almost went up to his people and said, don't you know you have to text him? At any rate. And then there's the Jim Jackson Show, on Thursday, all part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network through our friends at Cumulus. Again, the Rich Eisen Show on every day, 12 to 3 Eastern now on the Infinity Sports Network. We're back on network radio coast to coast. Check us out on our podcast all 3 hours as well. For Chris, I'm Rich. Enjoy Super Wildcard Weekend. This is Overreaction Monday, signing off. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern for free.